The shadow of a new arms race. Is the world headed towards nuclear crisis? The world once swore it would never come to this again. The screen flickered in a darkened command center deep beneath the earth. A red digital clock counted down, second by second, as a silent tension gripped the room. A missile test thousands of miles away had just been detected. The officials stood frozen. Confirmed. Hypersonic. Capable of carrying a nuclear payload. Origin, classified. Somewhere in a quiet town, far from war rooms and military bunkers, a child looked up at the sky, unaware that history was repeating itself. The old fears, long buried, were waking once more. The return of the nuclear shadow. Once thought to be relics of the Cold War, nuclear weapons are once again at the center of global tensions. For decades, treaties like the New START Agreement and the Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces, INF, Treaty worked to limit the expansion of these devastating arsenals. But today, those safeguards are crumbling. In 2019, the United States withdrew from the INF Treaty, citing Russian violations. In 2023, as tensions mounted with China, Russia, and North Korea, the future of nuclear diplomacy darkened further. The last major arms control agreement, New START, is set to expire in 2026, with little hope of renewal. Now, whispers of a new arms race are growing louder. Nations are modernizing their nuclear stockpiles, testing hypersonic missiles, and developing next-generation warheads that could strike faster, farther, and with unparalleled destruction. The era of disarmament is fading. A world on the edge. At the heart of the crisis lie the world's great powers. Russia, openly testing tactical nuclear weapons, has threatened their use if the war in Ukraine escalates beyond its control. The United States, under growing pressure to maintain its military superiority, has invested billions into upgrading its nuclear triad, bombers, submarines, and land-based missiles. China, once hesitant about nuclear stockpiling, is rapidly expanding its arsenal, developing new intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, capable of reaching global targets. North Korea, unpredictable and aggressive, has declared its nuclear weapons are not negotiable. India and Pakistan, locked in a decades-old conflict, continue to develop their nuclear capabilities in an uneasy balance of power. With diplomatic efforts weakening and military posturing increasing, the world stands at a precipice. The danger of hypersonic weapons. One of the greatest threats in this new arms race is hypersonic missile technology. Unlike traditional ICBMs, these missiles can travel at speeds exceeding Mach 5, making them nearly impossible to intercept. More alarmingly, they can change direction mid-flight, evading detection until it's too late. In 2021, China stunned Western intelligence agencies when it successfully tested a hypersonic missile that circled the globe before striking its target. The message was clear: nuclear warfare was evolving, and the old defense systems were becoming obsolete. The consequences of a single launch. It takes just one miscalculation, one false alarm, one moment of fear-driven decision-making for a nuclear conflict to begin. In 1983, during the Cold War, a Soviet officer named Stanislav Petrov chose not to react when Soviet systems falsely detected a U.S. missile launch. Had he followed protocol, a full-scale nuclear war could have begun. But what if a similar incident happens today, with world leaders under greater pressure, trust at an all-time low, and retaliation promised at the first sign of aggression? The world's nuclear arsenals today are far more advanced than those of the 20th century. A single modern warhead can level an entire city, leaving nothing behind but fire, radiation, and the echoes of what once was. Could diplomacy still work? Despite the rising tensions, some world leaders and organizations are fighting to revive arms control talks. The United Nations continues to push for nuclear disarmament through treaties like the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, TPNW, though nuclear states have largely ignored it. The question remains, can diplomacy outpace the arms race? In Washington, Beijing, and Moscow, negotiators know that without new agreements, the coming years will see more tests, more weapons, and more threats. The world has been here before, and it barely survived. A future uncertain. The night sky remains unchanged, indifferent to the fears of mankind. But below, in war rooms and missile silos, in government halls and underground bunkers, history is being written once more. The countdown has begun. Will the world stop it in time? The fears of a new nuclear arms race are more real than ever. With global tensions rising and diplomacy on shaky ground, we must stay informed and engaged. What do you think? Should world leaders prioritize diplomacy or military deterrence? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe to Curiousphere for more deep dives into global affairs. Like if you found this insightful. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update. The future is uncertain. Let's discuss it together.